What's going on YouTube? It's Mike here. Today guys, in this video we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about the iPhone 6. So guys, in this video today, I'm literally going to be bringing everything and anything together about the iPhone 6. There's a lot. There are part leaks, there are mock-ups, as you saw here. This is a mock-up of the 4.7-inch iPhone 6. There are tons of leaks, rumors, just lots of things floating around, and there's sources everywhere. And so today in this video, I figured I'd just bring together everything that we know so far. We have the iPhone 6 that's supposed to come in September 2014. That is just about 2 months away, a little over 2 months I should say. And so that's very soon. So as we get closer to this smartphone release, we're going to see a lot more leaked about it. But in this video, I figured I'd tell you everything we know so far because it is a lot. Obviously, the first is that we're going to be seeing this thing very soon, and that is September 2014, as I said, just a little over 2 months away here. And now we're supposed to see two different iPhone 6s. Now, I have the 4.7-inch mock-up here. If you guys remember, a couple months ago, these mock-ups were leaked, and I was able to get my hands on a 4.7-inch one, but a lot of other tech YouTubers got their hands on 5.5-inch mock-ups. I didn't get my hands on that, but I did get the 4.7 one. But basically, Apple is supposed to be coming out with two different iPhone 6s, kind of like how they had the iPhone 5S and 5C, although this is a little bit different. So basically, they're supposed to come out with a 4.7-inch, which will be released in September 2014, and then a 5.5-inch later on that year, even as late as January 2015, or sometime a little bit later in the beginning of 2015. So you might have to wait a little bit for it, but it'll just continue to market itself. And, you know, it'll be a big selling thing for Apple, obviously, as current smartphones are progressing to 5 inches, 5.1 inches, 5.5, some crazy sizes, almost the size of mini tablets, kind of like the iPad mini. You know, Apple kind of needs to step up their game, and so a lot of people are thinking that 4.7-inch model is going to be the first one that comes out in September 2014, and that 5.5-inch model will be delayed. Now, keeping that in mind, Apple will need to resize the screen, and so for that, pretty much what they're going to do is they'll probably go 1704 by 960 pixels. If they wanted to keep the beauty of the Retina display, trust me, which I love as well, then they'd have to amp up the pixels as well. And one of the main selling points is the sapphire glass. Now, this has been a huge thing, and as you guys can see here, if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, Marques Brownlee of MKBHD was actually able to get his hands on what is supposed to be the iPhone 6 leaked part front glass, and it's actually made of sapphire crystal glass. And it's incredible. You know, he puts it through some rigorous scratching tests with his knife and keys, and then he even tries to bend it because he couldn't get anything out of these tests. So he put it under his own foot, and with all human strength possible, he literally tried to break it. Now, weeks later, him and a bunch of other big tech YouTubers teamed up, and they took a very high-grade arrow to it with a bow and arrow, and they were able to get through it, but that's not what your everyday iPhone user is going to be doing. You'll be happy to know with the sapphire crystal screen, you're going to be getting a lot more durability. You won't really have to worry about screen protectors or a heavy-duty case on your new iPhone. Then, of course, we have the rumor that there's going to be a faster A8 processor chip in it. I'll get into that a little bit later, but that should be a little bit faster than what we currently have in the iPhone 5S, which is A7. So those are the main things that are the big selling points about the iPhone 6, but now I want to get into a little bit more detail about all of them, just so you guys get the full amount of information and you know everything that we know so far. So first, right off the bat, I want to show you this size comparison, just so you can get an idea how big these iPhone 6 mock-ups are. So we'll have a look at this now. This is courtesy of MacRumors.com. Here's the iPhone 5S, which is 4 inches. That's the current iPhone. That also applies the same for the iPhone 5C and the iPhone 5 as well. And you can see, so we have the first iPhone 6 mock-up here, and that's 4.7 inches. So it's a little bit bigger. Then we have the iPhone 6, which is 5.5 inches. Well, the iPhone 6 again, I should say, which is a whopping 5.5 inches. As a matter of fact, just about half the size of the iPad mini, which comes in at 7.9 inches. And finally, we have the iPad Air, which is 9.7 inches, the exact reverse. So just comparing these, I mean, you could see how big these iPhone 6s are supposed to get, and it's pretty remarkable. I did see, if you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, I was at VidCon 2014, and I was with Dom Esposito of Mac Mixing, and he actually showed me his 5.5-inch iPhone 6 dummy mock-up. I mean, I'm a fan, personally, of the 4.7-inch mock-up, but I think 5.5 inches is way too big. It does not feel like a phone. It feels like something else, almost like a phablet type of thing. It is something I could get used to. It's just a very unusual thing for Apple to jump into. And I'm not 100% sure if Apple will actually be releasing a 5.5-inch model. They could just stick with 4.7. You know, Apple's very slow to progress to bigger screen sizes. They do eventually do it like they did with the iPhone 5 with the 4-inch screen. So I don't know if Apple's just ready to touch on 5.5 yet. Maybe that's why they're delaying it. I don't know if they're even going to do it at all, to be honest with you. So aside from the whole mock-up side, there have been also a lot of part leaks that are slowly confirming all of the components inside of the iPhone 6 and what we can actually see. And so one of the first major things, first of all, was that sapphire crystal display that we saw a couple weeks back from MKBHD's video. This, like I said, this thing is supposed to be crazy durable, which should hopefully please a lot of existing iPhone users and even new iPhone users. As you know, the current iPhone screens are very prone to scratching and cracking. My iPhone 5C has cracked twice so far, after a replacement, as a matter of fact. So I would love to see some durable sapphire glass that if I scratched it, or intentionally scratched it, or dropped it a few times, it would hopefully survive and, you know, hold up from what would happen. As you can see, I mean, Marques was trying to bend this piece with his foot, with his shoe on, completely with all of his weight, and he could not get it. There have also been other parts leaked, as you can see from this picture here, such as a power flex cable, volume flex cable, and even the SIM card trays. I mean, there's been other part leaks. You know, there's been a 4.7-inch iPhone 6 backlight panel, which is a very important part in the iPhone 6, of course. But one of the most interesting things I found was the actual iPhone 6 original body. And as you can see from this clip here, if you look really closely, there's actually a cutout where the Apple logo is. Now, there has been a ton of speculation about this. The first speculation was that the Apple logo in the iPhone 6 is going to light up. And first I heard this and I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Now, you know that the Apple logo lights up currently on the back of MacBooks, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, or even the older MacBooks. It doesn't do it on the Macs. Instead, on the Macs or even the iPads, like the iPad, pretty much before the iPad Air. I don't think the iPad Air has that anymore, nor does like the iPad Mini. But the iPad 4 and below actually had the Apple logo embedded, and so if you were to take apart the iPad, you'd actually be able to remove the Apple insert. So this is something Apple's done in the past. I don't necessarily think it's going to light up all of a sudden. That would be a really cool feature, but a lot of people are thinking, okay, yeah, that Apple logo is going to light up when you get notifications or something. I think it's just going to finally be an embedded Apple logo that's been on Apple's products for years. It's on the desktop Mac, it's on older iPads, so I think Apple finally wants to move it into there. I found it really interesting, though, because for the last several years that Apple's had the iPhone, it's always been printed onto the metal, the plastic, the glass, whatever material it was. And so to see it embedded is kind of interesting. One of the biggest deals with the iPhone 6 is the mock-ups, of course, and as I said before, I got my hands on one from a good guy named Sonny Dixon. He is huge now on Twitter. He is known for some really awesome part leaks. He's leaked iPad mini parts, he's leaked new iPad parts, but his most credible, he even leaked the iPhone 5S, the gold option, and all of the 5C rear shells back before September last year when they released the new iPhones, and he got them all right. So we are highly believing him with this iPhone 6 mock-up. Now, there are 3 mock-ups available, and that's the gold, space gray, and silver. These aren't available for regular purchase, by the way. I mean, you gotta know people to get them. But basically, they're available both in the 4.7 and 5.5-inch options, and all of these mock-ups really give us a better idea and closer look at what the iPhone 6 will look like and be. And overall, I mean, I've done my video on the iPhone 6 dummy. Overall, I like it. You know, this is the 4.7-inch model, like I said, that I favor over the 5.5. I like the volume buttons, how they feel. I love the screen size. I like the power button on the side. One thing I don't like is the protruding camera lens, which is very similar and reminiscent to the iPod Touch 5th generation's camera lens. And protruding means it sticks out, which is kind of annoying. I never liked this on the iPod Touch, nor am I going to like it on the iPhone 6. I'll probably have a case on. But this is something I don't like, and I guess Apple's doing it because it's thin, and originally I thought it was just a manufacturer's defect. I mean, other than that, besides the camera lens, I could go on about that all the time. You know, it's a very interesting design. It's a lot different. The overall mock-up shows that Apple doesn't want to go flat anymore. It's a lot more flush and rounded. Kind of brings me back to the previous days before the iPhone 4. I don't feel like Apple's going backwards. I just feel like they're going different, very far away from what they previously had. Overall, I mean, it's pretty much the same. You still have your Touch ID sensor, you have your lightning port, your headphone jack, your speaker, your microphone, all your buttons, your ringer mute switch. I like the feel of it overall, I'm not gonna lie. So internally, we're going to move on to this now, the iPhone 6 is also going to get a lot as well. While it's also going to get a bigger display, obviously the resolution of the display is going to be a lot higher too. Like I said before, it's going to be a lot higher than what you're getting in the iPhone 5S if Apple still wants to deliver Retina quality. But they're going to be upgrading a lot of things, and that also includes like the A7 chip that's going right up to A8 for sure, in order to provide the power that this iPhone 6 is going to need. And it should have a 2.0 gigahertz processor, and it probably won't be more than a gigabyte of RAM, which for an iPhone is fine. A lot of people internally had trouble believing that the battery would actually withstand in the iPhone 6, and recently that's actually been fixed, and they said Apple does have a solution to fix it. Originally they thought with such a big display and such a thin design, how on earth would Apple improve the battery life, let alone worsen it? And since then, that's kind of been patched up, and they're like, oh, okay, Apple does have a plan to actually fix it, but it's just been an issue. Quite honestly, I'm hoping for better battery life. Right now, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the best. I mean, with every iPhone introduction, it sounds like it's going to get better, and then it doesn't. I'm just hoping that overall it does get better, and I think Apple will hopefully fix it with the iPhone 6. It's going to be a lot bigger, and especially on the 5.5 inch, they have no excuse. They're going to have a lot more room. I understand it's a bigger screen to power, but it's a hell of a lot more room to fit a bigger battery into and put more power into for a longer period of time. So there are some other little features here and there that I figured I'd go over. One of them is about the whole camera ordeal and if that's going to improve. I'm not 100% sure if Apple's going to improve the camera on the iPhone. Currently we have 8 megapixels on the rear camera at 1080p video recording. It's not an awful camera. Apple could go all the way to 12 megapixels, which for a smartphone, especially an iPhone, 12 megapixels, you're getting a lot, okay? You're getting fantastic pictures. The iPhone 5S already takes some great pictures. To see 12 megapixels will be great. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, you can also expect iOS 8 to ship on the iPhone 6 right now. I mean, that's the most obvious part of the iPhone 6 right now. We'll get iOS 8 on it. Right now it's in, as of this video, the 4th beta stage, so it's almost coming to an end. We're just about halfway through the beta stages, if not all the way halfway through. Just halfway through the beta stages, so we can expect that to ship on the device, of course, with some new features in order to bring in some selling points, although I think the fact that it's an iPhone 6 will be a selling point enough. We all know that this thing is going to sell like crazy when it comes out. If most people are just like, if it's shiny and made by Apple, they'll buy it. A lot of people are also wondering about the iPhone 6C. I know this is irrelevant to the iPhone 6, but I figured I'd bring it in because I don't think it's going to happen. You see, the iPhone 5C, in my opinion, was a failed thing for Apple, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but yes, I do think it. Basically, it was just an attempt to basically make the iPhone available to even more customers by making it cheaper. Now, while that's a great thing, okay, I get it, you know, it's $99 on a 2-year contract. That's with a $36 upgrade fee if you're with AT&T like I am. I don't know what other upgrade fees are. And then you're also paying a consecutive phone bill. So you're really not getting a fantastic deal. It wouldn't really make a difference if you spent an extra or additional $100 on the iPhone 5S. And also, something like the iPhone 4S is on contract for free, and you know, that's with the fees and upgrade eligibility and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily know if Apple wants to even keep the 5C. You know, they got rid of the 5 as soon as they brought the 5S because the 5C replaced the 5, and this time around I think Apple's going to say, okay, we'll bring in the iPhone 6 4.7 inch and eventually we'll also bring the 5.5 inch. No iPhone 6C, we're going to get rid of the 4S, we're going to get rid of the 5C, and we're going to mark down the 5S. Or Apple could take the 5S and they could bring it down to $99 and make the 5C $0, of course, on contract. It's in no way actually free. They could abandon everything else behind that, and then what they'll do is they'll have the iPhone 6 4.7 inch priced at $199 on a 2-year contract, and you'll be paying a little bit more for the first time in a very long time for the iPhone 6 5.5 inch at $299. I'm very interested in Apple's iPhone lineups every year. I'm very precise, and I always follow what Apple actually does with their iPhone lineup, so it'll be very interesting to see with these current rumors and speculations, since we've had absolutely no rumors, mock-ups, leaks, anything about an iPhone 6C, and it's been all the iPhone 6 4.7 and 5.5 inch. So Apple said that they're going to be introducing this new, you know, where they're going to be selling 2 different phones, part of their current phone lineup, which is the iPhone 5S and 5C, and I don't know if Apple wants to kill that off just yet after a year. So maybe they're going to make those 2 phones, the 4.7 inch iPhone 6 and the 5.5 inch iPhone 6. So that is pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much everything. Just to sum everything up, we can expect to see this device hopefully at the beginning or second week of September 2014, and then we will most likely see it launched 2 weeks after. So yeah, that's pretty much what you can take away from this. That's everything that we know so far about the iPhone 6. You know, there's a lot more I'm sure we'll find out as we get closer to the release, and I'll make my videos accordingly if it's really big leaks, rumors, and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll get closer to the point where it's actual real Apple part leaks, kind of like we had as we got really close to the iPhone 5S and 5C last year, just a few weeks before we had complete part leaks. So as we get closer, I will make more videos, don't worry. I'll try to keep you guys as covered as much as possible, so stay tuned for all of that. I'm also giving away an iPhone 6. Now, I'm not doing that. I'm not selecting the actual winner until my birthday, which is October 14th, so you gotta wait a little while for that. But if you want to enter into the giveaway now, you can do that. You can go to my giveaway. I will leave a link in the description so you can go check it out. I also recommend you follow me on Twitter for all updates. I am always tweeting things about iPhone 6, pretty much anything new, current, Apple, everything you need to know. You can follow me. It's at Mike's iOS Help. I always leave links in the description so you can check them out. And also go straight to my YouTube channel. Go youtube.com/Mike, and you can finally go to that URL. Nice and short. Go check it out. And also, if you like this video, please be sure to leave some comments below on your thoughts. Of course, rate, give this video a thumbs up, and click the subscribe button below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.